So we are now in pre-show. Sorry, guys, we're a little late. Max and I were discussing things. Like I said, we're planning on breaking Matt out of federal prison again because he's in federal prison again.
Yeah. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah,
he's been getting pretty cozy with the crypto.
He has. So he went to
P. Diddy,
which we're gonna have to talk to him. We're gonna have to
in the same cell together.
Oh man, I actually might have to stop broadcasting in order to fix this. Okay, guys, I'm terribly sorry. We will be right back because I actually know how to fix this shit now, but I can't do it while I'm actively streaming. So my bad. Be right back. Stay right here. I would like all of you to start singing Row, Row, Row. I have to make the resolution smaller and then pop it back up to 2560 by 1440. And now when you see the video kick back up, you will see us in our normal spots and fully visible. So, hey guys,
I see it.
Here we are, guys. Yep, here we are. So like I said, it's a resolution issue. Now we are back the way we are. Still should probably try to get a hold of Matt. This is the thing. I hate trying to send him letters while he's in federal prison about IT stuff because I know he wants to answer, but as a true IT man, he's inherently bothered by the fact that we're asking him for IT help while he's in prison, which is it's the same thing being IT literate, when you grow up.
IT guys are one step below chefs.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's when a chef opens a restaurant and then people go to that restaurant and then order food
and they're like, fuck!
We'll have a mental breakdown about it.
There's a
whole TV series about this.
Yes, I've seen this, yes. Oh God, I opened a restaurant and people are ordering food, fuck!
But IT guys are just a level below that. They're people work on computers, and I make sure that computers are working the way people think they're supposed to work.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're not working the way they're supposed to work. Fuck!
You know? Exactly. But here's the thing. Of all the stories I've heard, I think my favorite one is an IT guy who... No audio! Fuck!
Oh.
Wait!
I just had the audio on.
Hang on.
I heard audio. Wait, I hear audio.
Yeah, we got audio, man. We got audio. I'm sorry. Lord Towers, respectfully, you need to check yourself because you have respectfully wrecked yourself audio-wise. We got audio. So, I don't know, man. Check your mute button, maybe. Turn it off and turn it back on. Maybe try that.
Oh, no. That's...
Lying! Yes. Okay. Thanks, Lord Towers. We're totally not going to drone strike you later. Lying deceiver. Yes. Okay, so let me pull some stuff up here. I hope everybody's been doing well. I'm going to kick right into it. This is episode 216 of the Anti-Happening Podcast. She's SCOTUS on my Title IX until I birthright. Now, obviously this references several things.
I didn't even read the title.
She's SCOTUS on my Title IX till I birthright. Now, this is in reference to a few major Supreme Court decisions that came down this week. The Title IX thing is about that, yes, states, I guess, have the ability to ban trannies from women's sports, which is a no-brainer, I would say.
Well, I think it goes both ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's never really been a problem the other way.
Exactly, yeah. Which is weird. You don't see a whole lot of females trying to get into men's sports, but you do get a lot of guys trying to go into female sports. That's weird. Here's the thing. If it was even Stevens, it'd be all right, okay, this has happened at similar rates, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't. I'm pretty sure for those of you who are a little bit more into per capita, maybe you can look that up for us and generate some statistics. You want to be our personal...
if magically, I could go from 432nd in my sport to
third,
number one
or
in
one.
my sport.
Yeah. And all you had to do is like put on a wig and tuck it. Like
it's compelling. Because you get quite the scholarship benefit. That's the problem at the end of the day with Title IX parts of it is if it was just all about fair, good sportsmanship, sportspersonship, it's compelling. It'd be one thing about like, we have separate leagues because these people compete at different levels, but like, there's tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars at stake based on these people's sports scholarships in these disciplines and stuff like that. And that's where like, hey, you are systematically denying women from getting their shot at being able to get a free college education based on their talent in Division I sports or Division II or III sports even.
So I just like to say, Lord Towers, we are checking the chat. Like, we called you a liar before because we have audio, and your plans to deceive us have failed.
Being able to get
and yeah, man, we got audio. It's you. If you can't hear us right now, it's on you. I'm sorry. Like, if anybody else can't hear us, please let us know. Missile launch, you are muted. Oh, I think he's talking about muting Lord Towers, whatever. But yeah, dude, like.
Yeah, I can listen to the stream on YouTube and it's fine.
And you can hear us both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, man. Lord Towers, this is just a skill issue on your part.
I mean, the viewers did drop to 2. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, that's probably Missile Launch and Lord Towers.
I guess me, because I'm also like,
Missile Launch says he's been hearing us. Finally, thank you, Missile Launch. Thank you very much. We've had 9 like separate views though, so we've had 9 people pop in. Just 2 people are hanging out, which is that happens. People come and go. We're not the Rogan podcast. We're not.
Does it still like post to like other venues or something like that?
What do you mean?
Well, like I thought for a while like it was posted to like Apple Podcasts or something like that.
I think it does. Like that's a Matt question. Missile Launch says he's reading about a Catholic schism happening. That sounds interesting. We're going to circle around to that later. But after the Title IX thing, the other thing, of course, the big decision that I am not surprised came down the way it did was the issue with birthright citizenship, which, if you really think about it, allowing a sitting president, regardless of who it is, to overturn a constitutional amendment with an executive order is not good. Like, as much as I actually might have an issue with the concept of birthright citizenship as it stands right now, it's actually not great legal precedent, because if you can overturn one amendment with an executive order, you can overturn another amendment with an executive order. You can do anything. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
As a former president for Youth for Ron Paul in a state, I'll say Ron Paul had the right interpretation of the 14th Amendment, which is that birthright citizenship applies to people under the jurisdiction thereof with respect to the United States of America. And he said, and a long line of thinking, and he submitted multiple bills to clarify what the jurisdiction thereof meant with respect to Congress. And I think it was Kavanaugh who, when he agreed with the court opinion, said this, which is that like Congress just needs to specify what they mean by people who are under the jurisdiction of the United States. Like whether that means illegal immigrants or other persons or whatever, but under current immigration law,
it's anybody.
Like the way Congress has written it is that anybody who happens to be born within the territorial boundary of the United States is a citizen. Except, and this is the weird thing, it's like, except if you're a diplomat or Like, and it's like, why is that the one exception? Like, diplomats are like highly scrutinized, like very, like, very like people who have been checked out to the highest degree, and it's like, what would we care if like the diplomat of Taiwan or of Singapore or of Kenya, even, like, what do we care if their particular child while born on US soil was a US citizen? That's like 12 people a year.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Exactly.
it doesn't even matter.
Also, like, if you're here on like a valid visa, like you apply for, let's say, an educational visa, you're here and you're in school, you meet somebody, let's say you're female, get pregnant. While you're here on a valid visa, yeah, if your child is born, say, on the MIT campus or in a hospital in New York City, that child should be a citizen. The problem...
Okay, there's a couple caveats to that, because I would say, like, people on temporary visas, right? Like, these aren't necessarily people who have been granted like the keys to civilization inside the United States.
Okay, so what about green cards? Like naturalized.
If you're a lawful permanent resident, I think that's probably where it's at. But like, to me, what jurisdiction always meant when I read it was like, hey, the slaves that were freed after the Civil War cannot be repatriated to Africa to any particular nation and issued a passport. Like, they like this, the slaves in the South couldn't ask for a passport from the Kingdom of Ashanti or Ghana or something like that. They're totally under the jurisdiction of the United States. They're people who are brought here as captive people against their will, and they are in our legal system, and they're not like, I think the test for if you can give birth to a citizen should be, can you be charged with treason? Because like, if you're a Chinese spy in the United States who's like doing corporate espionage, like in San Francisco or whatever, on a student visa, like you were just talking about,
or if you happen to become a mayor of a major city in California and you're actively a Chinese spy,
or become mayor of a major city in California. If you were conspiring against the United States, would we be able to charge you with treason? Well, it turns out that treason only applies to citizens who can who've pledged loyalty to the United States in the first place.
Yep.
If you're a lawful permanent resident, like I think that's a green card, right?
Yes. Permanent resident is a green card.
Yeah, if you're a lawful permanent resident, pays taxes to the U.S., has potentially renounced your citizenship to other nations, like, yeah, you're fully under the jurisdiction of the United States. But if you're on a F1 visa for a student visa to the United States, and you bring over your pregnant fiance to live in student housing with you, and they have their baby, and
different. No, it's different. But I specifically meant, though, somebody who had the active visa like issued in their name, like as a student. Like, if a woman had an active visa and came over here and met in, I don't know, like another... Oh, see, that's the other thing. You're going to meet another guy here who's American, and because he's a citizen. All right, so we're going to take my example.
One of your parents is a U.S. citizen.
We're just gonna throw my little analogy out there, because that's not gonna...
Yeah, I don't know if that one...
No, I didn't think that through. Oops. Okay, so yeah, but it's funny you mentioned that about the slaves too. Because do you know who else actually made that point about the slaves, about birthright citizenship being reserved for that? Approximately a year ago. About 2 months before he got shot in Utah.
Oh, was it Charlie Kirk?
It was Charlie Kirk. I don't remember the exact tweet, but he was like, everyone knows that birthright citizenship was primarily adopted to deal with the issue of freed slaves and slaves in general. And that's an opinion that has some basis.
Well, the thing, I get the case, the way it came out. It makes sense to me.
It does to me too. That's the thing. Like,
and it's just, to me, like, I agree more with Kavanaugh or Elite or Clarence Thomas on this, where they say, hey, like, if Congress had to pass a law to legalize that Native Americans were American citizens in the 1920s, even though they're fully under the jurisdiction of the United States because they're in protectorates, the reservations, that stands to reason that, like, people who are not necessarily admitted here under a valid permanent visa would always give birth to a U.S. citizen. Which it's just like, I guess the current situation is, okay, yeah, we can just do birth tourism now.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I mean, that's been the case for, I guess, almost 100 years.
Yeah. So here's the thing: like, people will really,
and that's what makes sense. Or I get where the Supreme Court says, like, hey, this has been the precedent for like 100 years now. Like, anybody who just gets a valid birth certificate issued inside the United States, like, they're a citizen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's 100 years of precedent for that. That sort of makes sense.
Makes sense.
That's also how common law works.
If they only had like 50 years of precedent, though, like Roe v. Wade, then maybe they would have overturned it. But once you get to 100, it's like, can't really do that. What else was I going to say on the matter? So actually, Missile Launch said, if we determine that illegals are not under the jurisdiction of the United States, we've used to disqualify from welfare, it won't amount to anything because the state wants illegals. But hey, which does seem to be the case for the United States and also many European countries for the past several years. I know I've mentioned it a couple times, and I don't know if you've seen it, but have you ever seen James Corbett talk about depopulation?
I know the name.
Okay.
And I know the concept, but I don't know that I've seen him in particular talk about it.
So years ago, when people were still honestly like believing the Earth is overpopulated, we need less people, and less people need to be having babies, like all of that stuff. The trends were already pointing toward there being a really big issue coming up where countries were going to start to fall below their replacement levels for what you need. And I don't just mean like, like white people aren't having as many kids compared to other ethnicities. Like, overall, people are not across all the board having enough kids. Like, India has actually.
I think that's the case across the board.
It's a case across the board.
There's only a couple nations that are above replacement rate.
Yeah, and here's the thing, though: not even India anymore is above replacement rate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not even India.
Which is, it's interesting given how many people there fucking are in India that they are not above their replacement rate. Like, something is going on, and countries like the United States and European countries and other countries too, outside of U.S. and Europe, are just importing people like crazy because it is the only way they can think of to keep their populations up. Because if you do not keep your population up, what also happens is you have a much smaller tax base. Because you have a much smaller tax base, everything else you just don't have money for anymore. Or at the very least, it becomes harder to fake money your way through problems. And, but the biggest issue, though, is just like people aren't having kids as much. So in order to deal with this, the other thing actually outside of that is the other reason they want people from certain areas of the globe of certain ethnicities who may or may not have a certain average IQ is that they simply are easier to maintain as a population. So if you think of humans being tended to by their elite masters, less like humans and more like farm animals, when you dumb down the population, and you get them used to living on lower standards of living in general, like having less money, not having as nice of things, not having as many services, not having as many amenities. In general, they're just living a smaller life that's easier for you to control. They also usually will ask less questions, specifically about you and what you're doing, especially if you're also like giving them free shit. They're willing to turn a blind eye and not ask questions, and they will systematically and faithfully vote for you because you're giving them free shit. So you have this situation where you're replacing populations that arguably maybe are higher in intelligence, who have a little bit more independence and autonomy. And I'm not saying there's a huge difference, because there are plenty of people in the West who are very, very reliant on the government, and the kind of people who
it's a
yep.
Pareto distribution in all cases, basically, right? Like 20% of factors produce 80% of outcomes. And whether that's crime or wealth production, it's true.
Yeah. Lord Towers says, I can hear them now. Some pest control salesman just came around. Oh, okay. Maybe illegals?
What does that mean?
I don't know. But then they said, I haven't kept up with James lately. I haven't either. Admittedly, like, so I would strongly advise everyone, if you're only going to check out a couple of James Corbett things, he has a series on 9/11, which is very good. He has a very good series on World War One, specifically the political situation before World War One, and how World War One was kind of engineered by global elites to usher in a new kind of monetary system and monetary dominance. He also has a really, really, really excellent series on, it's called Why Big Oil Conquered the World. That's probably
who are you talking about?
James Corbett.
James Corbett, okay.
Yeah, but if you had to pick one, it's either his 9/11 series or Why Big Oil Conquered the World. Those are really, really, really insightful, well-researched, cited documentaries that he put together on a shoestring budget by himself. His show, The Corbett Report, it's a voluntarist show. It's good, but I kind of fell out of it because he's very serious, not in a bad way, but he definitely comes off as like intense and not happy sometimes. And yeah, his Big Oil series is the best. Thank you. Yes, it's fantastic. Everybody should watch it.
Okay.
But it's just one of those things, like, if you watch enough angry YouTubers all the time, you start to become angry. Like, in general, you just kind of absorb the anger. There was another guy who, I don't remember the name of his channel, but his name is also Ben. And I'm also not like looking to get too deep into this because it's its own thing. He was talking about like changes in solar cycles and how there was going to be a polar shift, and how like the Midwest United States was going to become like the new like safe zone, like Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Utah, like that area was like not going to be affected by this massive global flood of like the oceans repositioning. Larkin Rose. Yeah, Larkin Rose is much grumpier. This is true, Lord Towers. I don't remember this other guy, but he used to like get into
Larkin Rose is like very in cap, like kind of like almost sovereign citizen kind of guy.
Yeah, a little bit. Which I'm not saying there's not a place for that.
If you're talking about like geomagnetic stuff,
yeah,
I know a couple channels that like did that kind of stuff, and I'm trying to remember. There's like, I don't know if it was Storm Clouds Gathering or something like that.
That sounds really familiar. Hang on, now I have to look that up. That might be it.
But here's the thing: is like somebody who's a planetary scientist guy.
Not Storm Clouds Gathering. Okay.
They have sort of. I've seen credible arguments about how the Earth's pull does shift over a rapid period of time. However, the idea that like that could cause like mass extinctions, like, or the level of stuff that they're talking about in those videos, it's like, okay, all through the last 2 million years, you know, there was a steady amount of life all throughout the fossil record that we can observe that went through ice ages and interglacial periods and stuff like that. And the idea that all of a sudden, every 20,000 years, throughout this entire period, the main defining thing that caused mass extinctions or whatever um, was going to be the magnetic field shift um, it's kind of ridiculous when you look at geology and like the fossil record and stuff like that. It just doesn't make sense.
No, that's true. Yeah.
So yeah, I get that it could cause problems for modern civilization. And it probably caused a lot of problems in the Finno-Korean hyperwar.
It probably did.
But
yeah.
We don't know because all their hard drives got wiped when the pole shift.
Exactly. The pole shifted. It just released this massive EMP that not only disabled all of their advanced technology, it like catapulted it into space. And there was some weird, again, during the weird polarity shift, they all just got this weird charge and were just flung out of the atmosphere away from the Earth. Like the Earth just turned into a massive intergalactic claymore. And the reason,
so Lord Towers says Randall Carlson's catastrophe theories have more believability.
Not familiar with it. I'm gonna look this up too.
So
So this is actually, I also wanted to mention, this is a guy who's been on the Rogan podcast before. But are you familiar with Dr. Robert Skoch or Skoch?
I can't place the name in my head right now.
So I would say his biggest claim to fame is he wrote a paper on what the actual age of the Sphinx is based on water erosion in the area. And he got a lot of heat for it, but like the problem is like his research is actually pretty sound and like he backs his stuff up. And he has effectively like made this case that the reason nobody wants to like really explore his theory that the Sphinx is like 6,000 years older than like everyone actually says it is because the Egyptian tourism agency makes a lot of money from presenting Egypt mythology and Egyptian history a certain way. And there's a lot of money specifically in like establishing dates and times and when everything is supposed to be. And the Sphinx suddenly being 6,000 years older than everybody actually thinks it was harms tourism in some way. And it also threatens the tenure of a lot of individuals who essentially built their academic careers on proving the age of the Sphinx. And it's like it's like a gatekeeping thing, essentially, which you can. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Here's the deal in Egyptology, and I've talked to these people.
Yeah.
Is that like it's like the age of the Sphinx is not that relevant to the entirety of Egyptology.
No, that's fair. That's very fair. But he also like has some interesting theories about during the. Are you familiar with the Younger Dryads? If I say that.
Yeah. Oh, this is something the Younger Dryas is one of my main things that I have researched. Yes.
So he did some research on that, and he was talking about how, I don't know if it was around that time, but there was a certain point basically kind of studying why ancient humans like were kind of driven underground at one point, like why we all went down and started living in caves. And he was also he did some research on like some hieroglyphics, otherwise like cave paintings, just stuff like that. And what they found is that a lot of the symbols in cave paintings are reminiscent of features you get in the sky during like intense solar storms. So his theory was that all back in the day, there was this massive solar event where there were massive solar storms, and essentially these massive storms actually on the Earth's surface that were essentially just like large lightning storms, which are why there are these areas where there's essentially all of this like vitrification where the Earth essentially has been like turned to glass because it's been heated up so much. And there is a lot of that in Egypt, specifically around the pyramids and around the Sphinx. There are a couple of other places around the Earth, like there's one in India, I think, this massive area where there's like this huge patch of vitrified earth. And I think this is actually mentioned a little bit in the Chariot of the Gods series, which they're talking about like ancient astronauts and like spaceships coming down and getting into like intergalactic wars in the Earth's atmosphere. There's actually a decent amount of like material on ancient UFO sightings in India. There's a very famous one in Germany. I don't remember what it's
The Star Battle.
the Star Battle, yeah,
1500s.
in the 1500s, where like the giant black triangle comes down from the sky over this fucking town, and everyone's watching these little things come out and like shoot each other. And it's just like, I wonder what that was. Like, clearly that was like, it must have been like some sort of weird cloud and like lightning storm or something that was just freaking people out.
Yeah, I think the ability to fake things in the past was like infinitely greater because like if you go back 500 years and were to ask for like how many sources there are for a given thunderstorm, there'd be basically zero, right? Like whereas nowadays like there's storm chasers that go around and they have pictures and
Yep.
they make a blog post about it and stuff like that. And so like if you were to see like an incredible lightning storm and then write a story about it, and like maybe you're the only person who's literate in your town and write about it, like that might have staying power and just like stick around for a long time. But the idea that there's not been like air to air like spacecraft battle in the Earth's atmosphere in the 500 years since that thing, like wait, why did it only happen once? Like, okay, I guess that's it's cool if it did happen once, but like
why only once? Why hasn't the Death Star just fucking dropped down in front of like just like over Mexico City? Just a bunch of like shitty like 1020p cell phone recordings of like this intergalactic battle in our lower atmosphere. You never see it anymore. Which
the proliferation of like cell phone cameras is really tamped down on the amount of UFO sightings.
Unfortunately.
Like and I'd love if we had some great evidence of all this stuff, but like every time I see a video, I'm just like, as somebody who also like has done like scientific documentary film production and like done VFX and CGI and all that stuff, like I know like what it looks like when you do it, even when you do it really, really well.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, I don't see it. I haven't seen it yet. Like people could send me the best they've seen, and I still don't see it.
Exactly. So,
but I would say like the Younger Dryas to be like this is a point of controversy between academia. Like it is a legit like thing that people across different disciplines debate between climatology and geophysics and geologists and whoever else you could think of that like was interested in paleoclimate and stuff like that. This is climate records that we don't have direct measurements for, like we do for the last 100 years or so. And we know the Younger Dryas happened. That's not the controversial part. That there was which about 12,000 years ago, there was a radical drop in temperatures across the northern hemisphere specifically that caused, or I shouldn't say caused. I want to present this as neutrally as possible. That was related to or immediately preceded the mass extinction of lots of Ice Age megafauna. Think mammoths, think
saber-toothed tigers, giant sloths.
Yeah, saber-toothed tigers, stuff like that. Mastodons, everything. And there's a few different points of contention on it, and people have been looking for a cause of the Younger Dryas cooling for a long time, whether it be a solar storm event the thing is, like, okay, if there's a 1 in 10,000 year solar storm event, like, what is the actual cause of that? And I'm even on the fringe where I would agree that, like, solar weather and solar fluctuations
Mhm.
have been observed since we've had records to have wild fluctuations. We had the mini ice age in the late 1800s that corresponded with the Maunder minimum, where there were no sunspots forming, and we had the essentially the mechanism would be that, like, particles coming off the sun trigger cloud formation.
Mhm.
Those certain high energy particles that come off the sun during solar active cycles will trigger cloud formation and
Mhm.
then trigger for um rain or snow or whatever. um and this went so far as one of the professors I worked with was Dr. Brownlee,
Mhm.
and he worked for the uh Los Alamos for the nuclear weapons program.
Mhm.
And he came out and he wanted to whistleblow basically at the end of his career, because and this is the thing, like, I will always, like, elevate, because basically he wrote a paper describing the mechanism where the US military or DARPA or
Mhm.
whoever who wanted to do it could spray aerosolized radioactive particles into the jet stream and suppress cloud formation and trigger a drought over wherever they wanted to
Mhm.
in the upper atmosphere. And um like, what here's the deal, like, people talk about weather modification being a total conspiracy theory. Weather modification has been a thing since the 1970s. Every science department has written papers about weather modification since the
Mhm.
1970s. And what the Los Alamos team figured out, what he wrote a paper about, was that you could inject um, radioactive particles into the upper jet stream. They would emit radiation like a sun hotspot would do and suppress cloud formation and trigger a drought over a certain spot in the Earth's air currents and
Mhm.
stuff like that. And so um he wanted to say this because he's like, hey, they could, if I don't tell people that this is possible, we could starve the USSR or
Mhm.
China and kill tens of millions of people without people knowing that this is a weather weapon that we're actually using. And who knows if the US ever tried to use it. Uh the thing is that the mechanism he described is really only useful over the um the I want to think of the word. It's the jet stream that's over the mid latitudes, not the tropical jet stream. Because the tropical jet stream has too much energy getting put into it over time. Because it's just more consistent.
Mhm.
But I could see if somebody could develop a mechanism secretly to do it over that, then yeah, you could modify El Nino and El Nina to
Mhm.
have different weather effects and climate effects over that period of time too. So, I do see a sun mechanism for it, but the Younger Dryas, in my opinion, was probably caused by a meteor impact.
I've
It was
heard the
either,
same thing. Like it hit and like didn't it hit like towards like one of the ice caps, like the polar ice cap?
yeah. I think it was probably an airburst meteor, or it impacted and caused,
A great
like,
flood.
over an ice pack, it caused a mass melting or
Mhm.
something like that. to trigger this deluge of cold water into the North Atlantic and to freeze up the North Atlantic current regulation system to bring and regulate warmth to the northern climates, and then you would have a runaway cold house effect, basically, that caused it. So sorry to go on a tangent about all
No,
that.
that's good. I'm glad we did, because that was very relevant to what we were talking about, because like, again, something happened to us way back in the day. But I feel like there's that series, I don't remember what it was, it came out on Netflix. There's that dude talking about like ancient civilizations building like deep underground structures, and that like some sort of meteor impact during the Younger Dryas.
It was Graham Hancock's
Yes,
series.
yes, which people gave him a lot of shit for, which I don't. Again, it's just one of these things.
Here's the thing: it's like, the way science works is like sometimes people aren't 100%, or it doesn't have to be that people are 100% wrong or 100% right.
Right. You could be right about this, but off on this.
Yeah.
And the whole idea is that it is the idea of what is correct is constantly changing and being challenged and looked at and observed and going, okay, we were right about this, but wrong about this. And we were wrong about this and right about that. But I want to check the chat again. Plasma in general, one of the big keys. Mad infuriating. It's infuriating to think that the world is actually mad sick, but the posers that are all only dysgenic freaks won't let us know about it. Yeah, man. The dysgenic freaks. You just ruin it for everybody. Maybe in 2030 we'll see it. And talking about weather modification from the Lord Towers, wasn't Popeye the first to do weather modification? It's a reference I'm not getting.
Yeah, I gotta rewatch the old Robin Williams movie or something. I don't know.
Yeah. What else were we gonna talk about? So we talked about the SCOTUS on my Title IX till I birthright. We could also talk about what the fuck is going on with the Strait of Hormuz in Iran, because apparently, like, the cost of oil is coming down, ships are going through, but there's still all of this, like, oh, you violated this, no, you violated that, we're not agreeing to this, well, we're not agreeing to that, and it's just like, what the fuck is even going on at this point? It just seems like a big dick waving competition now.
So from Zero Hedge, update as of 1:15. I assume this is Eastern time. American side is keeping up the illusion of progress on Iran talks, saying that Iran has once again on Wednesday confirmed no direct meetings, even though Iran has confirmed on Wednesday that no direct meeting has taken place in Doha. Nor are there plans for a direct dialogue, as the foreign minister has said. Trump has simultaneously hailed very good talks on Iran in Doha, referencing envoys Witkoff and Kushner dialoguing with third country intermediaries. On the same day, Vance played a little bad cop, warning if Iran fails to acquiesce and destabilize the region, that the U.S. could respond, escalating in several ways if Iran attempts to rebuild its nuclear program, threatening its neighbors and supporting terrorism. President Trump has options to deal with it. Vance said without specifying further. Earlier, the Wall Street Journal stated that Trump had been briefed on several military options, including, quote, all-out war.
So we haven't seen all-out war yet. Like, this is all those, that entire fucking radar map of like 40% of the United States logistical supply chain being rerouted to bomb Iran. That wasn't all-out war? Like,
well, here's the deal. We got to keep a couple flyovers in reserve for July 4th.
True. Yeah, no, there's that too. Yeah, like, I'm actually really excited for that. Like, Hill Air Force Base near me is like flying everything over. Excited.
It should be fun.
It should be fun. I hope
it's always cool, dude. Like I've seen a lot of flyovers with like, okay, like the fighter jets are cool. Helicopters are cool, but when they fly a stealth overhead,
Yeah.
and you just like don't even hear it or see
Yeah.
it until it's directly overhead, that's cool.
That is very
I
cool.
You're like, oh
This
yeah, they legit have that thing.
one
That
of one of the
that-
coolest things I've ever seen is occasionally I will make a trip to West Wendover, Nevada, which takes me through like West Utah and the very eastern like eastern side of Nevada, which is basically the Sierra Madre. It's all desert. You have the Sierra Nevada mountain range. I don't know if, no, sorry, Sierra Madre is a fucking. Is it actually a desert? Or is it just like a fucking casino from Fallout and I'm stoned and a little drunk?
No, the Sierra Nevada is the western half, and the Sierra Madre is the eastern half.
Okay, thank you.
Is
So
it the Basin and Range Province? Yeah,
yeah,
it goes all the way up.
but it's
Yeah,
the
you're
huge desert bowl basin thing. And the
Yeah.
Air Force does a lot of like practice shit out there. Like they have practice bombing ranges, practice gun ranges. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you will see fighter jets practicing dogfighting maneuvers. And there was this one time I remember I was past Tooele. So I was like almost to the Salt Flats, kind of like approaching Bonneville. And when I was out there, I look up and I see a contrail, and I'm like, oh, okay, like whatever, it's a contrail. And I notice there's like these two contrails kind of traveling, and then they start going like, I see this, like they start crisscrossing, and like this one comes around, and like I see the contrail like starting to chase it and stuff like that. And I'm just like, oh shit, they're practicing dogfighting up there. And like the entire time I'm driving, I can just see them like up like near the horizon, like doing this. And it was just very cool to see. I have no idea what kind of aircraft they were, but it was just neat just to see the contrails from the ground, just being like, oh shit, yeah. Like, yeah, man. Like it's cool. So like, again, like not that I'm, celebrating the US military industrial complex, but when big plane fly over, it cool. It's cool to see.
I have Hideo Kojima's opinion about
exactly. Yes.
Which is war is hell, and it is an absolute abomination on the human condition.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it looks sick as fuck. Like,
so the Lord Towers says there's a full SR-71 Blackbird at the Cosmosphere in Kansas, KS. They also have chunks of the Berlin Wall. That's cool. Near me, there is the Hill Air Force Base Aeronautical Museum. And this is another one of the museums in Utah that like I need to go to. Need to go to this one. I need to go to the Browning Museum. I need to go to the Museum of Natural History of Utah because they have like dinosaur skeletons galore. But at the Hill Air Force Base Aeronautical Museum, they have an SR-71. And I found out about this.
There's one. I don't know if it was Pima,
Yeah.
Pima Air Museum down in Arizona. When I went down there,
Yeah.
the SR-71, it was so cool.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite planes. Like, it's just insane.
Like
borderline space plane, right?
Basically like alien craft, just about. But I am off tomorrow, and I was gonna go look at a motorcycle, which I would still like to do, but things changed in that department. You can look at my Tumblr, and I made a post about that, so that's gonna have to wait a little while. I still want to go see this fucking motorcycle. But now I'm just like, man, I should go see an SR-71. That would be fucking cool. But I'll have more days off.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
I will say, like, where I'm at, or Wyoming, we're remote enough that routinely, like, or I shouldn't say routinely, but when a military airplane crashes in Wyoming, they don't actually bother to clean it all up. They might recover the bodies.
Hang on, like how often does this happen? Okay, it doesn't happen routinely. How often does this happen, Max?
It's happened often enough that every single mountain range in Wyoming you can find an abandoned military aircraft plane wreck. In.
I did not know that. That is actually very interesting.
And so you can go, like, there's specific hikes, and like you can look up like Bomber Falls or Bomber Mountain, and stuff like that.
Bomber falls. Oh God, that's awesome.
Where planes have like, and unfortunately, like the crew all dies.
Oh shit. Okay, not awesome. Not awesome.
But they did recover the bodies, right, for the families.
Okay, fair.
Something
better.
But like you can go to these sites. Like it's so remote and it's so difficult to get to. There's no roads or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like you go on like a 5, 6 or something like that mile hike, and you can see a B-27 crashed into the side of a mountain.
Okay,
complete with like
cool.
All the engines, and it's aluminum. They were all made out of aluminum in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Or I mean, all modern military aircraft are made out of aluminum or titanium or better, and so they don't rust. Is the thing, and it's just pristine, glassy aluminum.
So what you're saying is
on the side of a mountain.
I could go and I could get some of this aluminum and I could use it to like build a shack. And I could have like a reloading bench in this shack, and I could have another station where I mix chemicals and do make like special potions and inhalable things.
Here's what just occurred to me is like, how much weight do I need to take back from one of these crash sites, which would be like at a certain point they're like historical sites, right?
Yeah,
so you don't actually want to remove some, but it's like, oh, I only need like a pound or two of aluminum to like melt and reforge into an AR-15 lower, and then I have...
a friend of mine actually did that. He collected a lot of cans and melted that shit in his driveway and forged a small AR-15 lure receiver out of it. It's quite interesting. But that would be like making an AR-15 out of a downed bomber aircraft from like the 40s. Just getting your tax dollars back, essentially. Not your tax dollars, your ancestors' tax dollars, assuming you were born here, which you should be if you're listening to this podcast. Unless you're one of our many European friends, or one of our Russian friends, or one of our Albanian friends, or one of our Greek friends, or one of our Egyptian friends. We have friends all over the globe. We are Mr. and Mr. Worldwide. And Matt especially just keeps making all sorts of funky worldwide connections, which is why he's back in federal prison. But yeah,
you can't get involved with Albanian Al Qaeda and just expect to walk away.
You mean Al Qaeda? Which, here's the thing though, if he got involved with like Serbian Al Qaeda, that probably would have been okay. Like, we already bombed them once. They're good right now. They're back. Maybe not Serbia.
No, we were on their side in 1993. We were bombing on behalf of the
Wait, no. We were bombing Serbians for the Bosnians, weren't we? Wasn't that it?
Yeah, exactly. The Bosnians were the Muslim Al Qaeda affiliates.
Oh, okay. So it should be Bosnian Al Qaeda that we should be, or Max that is making connections with. Sorry, not us.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess he could pass for a Bosnian. Like, he could pass for a Mexican.
By the way, the U.S. won our match in the World Cup against Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Excellent.
Which I think it's really unfair that the United States, were expected to face two nations teams at the same time.
Yeah, that's really not fair. But we won, so skill issue.
Yeah.
But didn't we lose to Turkey?
Yeah, but that was in the friendly matches, and we'd already clinched the thing.
Oh, okay, whatever.
Our playoff berth. So, I think if it came down to it, hopefully we'd win this time.
Hopefully,
but also that was embarrassing.
That was embarrassing.
It was kind of a fluke. The last goal.
Yeah.
If you didn't watch it, the last goal was like nobody was expecting it. Like, obviously the Turks were playing for keeps, and the Americans were just, goofing around at that point in the game. They were like, oh, it's 2-2. It's going to go to a tie. It's 87 minutes in. Like, all we got to do is just like play a little defense, and like everybody goes home and has a good time. And the Turks were like, no,
we will win for our Roach Masters. We will bring a victory home to Ergodon, the watermelon seller. Oh, is there anything else we want to go over? Any topics? Anything you wanted to mention?
Man, I think out of the things that were to mention, we basically mentioned it.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Well, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
can hear Scoob going.
Yeah, he's like, hey, time. So, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us for episode 216. As a reminder, we will be taking a little 2-week hiatus. We can call it a July 4th holiday. Also, again, Max and I next week will be breaking Matt out of jail. So we're just going to need a little time. We will be back here late July at some point. We hope things don't happen too much while we're gone. Sincerely and truly. But if they do, it's just more evidence that you really should be paying us for this. Just throwing that out there. But seriously, though, guys, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being very active in chat tonight. The Lord Towers and Missile Launch, shout out to you guys. Aluminum's all you need. Yeah, that'd be Peak, a drill press. Love you, sweeties. Love you too.
One final mention is that the European Union completely knows about the benefits of air conditioning. They just choose not to do it because they want to kill off their elderly to save on pension payouts.
I would believe this, especially given that like there are hospitals in Germany, like brand new hospitals that don't have fucking air conditioning. Which, like, if you're gonna put air conditioning in any building, like you could pick one type of building that's gonna get air conditioning and no one else. I would pick the fucking hospital personally.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the politicians' offices and the government's offices, I'm sure they all have HVAC of some sort. I'm pretty sure
only the top floor where the elite.
The top floor, right? Yes, yes, of course. The top floor has air conditioning.
The rest of the floor is like the bureaucrats. Like they got to tough it out.
They got to tough it out. But yeah, we hope you guys all enjoy your lovely air conditioning. Since most of you are probably in the United States. Congratulations, by the way, on being born in the U.S. because it's quite the lottery win. We get air conditioning. Apparently, Europeans also don't have food. We have great food. Ranch dressing. Ranch. Yeah, ranch is very important. So we hope you guys stay happy. We hope you stay safe.
Very low rate of death by diarrhea.
Very low rate of death by diarrhea. Very low rate of death by heat exposure. Very low rate of death by diarrhea while getting hit by a train, too. That's also very low. And folks, in a couple of days, it will be the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States, the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776. Now, being ANCAPs, being anarchists, July 4th is always a little bittersweet because on the one hand, it is one of my favorite holidays, and thank goodness they decided to declare independence in July and not like February or some bullshit when it's like 20 degrees out. Like, fuck that, man. Like, this is perfect for this. We hope those of you living in drought areas still manage to enjoy some fireworks safely, but no wildfires. Also, speaking about myself here, living in fucking Utah, it's very dry here. And as far as I know, they don't, like, they have fireworks bans in certain areas, but there's no statewide or countywide ban that I know of. So,
well, it's like usually like if you like they put it at the local stadium or whatever,
something
like
yeah
they'll have a big display there. That's fun, but it's like I don't want to like I live like a quarter mile from like dry grassland, and like if I set off like a big ass mortar, like I would not be confident.
Yeah,
it wouldn't set off a fire.
Which it does concern me because like there's two holidays that are big in Utah. There's July 4th, and then 2 weeks later on the 25th, I believe, is called Pioneer Day, which is a celebration of the pioneers like discovering the Utah area and founding it and settling it and butchering Native Americans. But that's for another time. Both those nights, I have
the TV series. It's like American Primeval or whatever.
I think it. Hell, there's American Primeval. There's Hell on Wheels too. Is another good one.
Okay.
But the last July 4th especially, I went for a night drive when everybody was setting off fireworks. It looked like downtown Baghdad in 1990. is the best way I could describe it. There were so many fireworks going off everywhere. Like the atmosphere, the lower air atmosphere was completely saturated with fireworks. Like I was up on a mountain looking down and it was everywhere. Everywhere. So on the one hand, that's probably going to happen again and I'm excited for it. On the other hand, I definitely have updated renter's insurance. I made sure that shit was paid off in advance. I was just like, it's really dry. I think it would be a good idea to prepay for several months of renter's insurance instead of just doing monthly this time. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And yeah, I'm good till October. So
nice.
Yep. So ladies and gentlemen,
I pay my homeowner's insurance 6 months at a time. So.
Of course, yeah. It's just you get a little discount that way. You don't have to worry about it month to month. It's easier. It's easier to plan for. But ladies and gentlemen, we thank you again. And for this holiday, you will stay safe. You will be happy. You will have a good time. Have some beers. Get a little drunk. Don't drive. Unless you're on private property, then do what you want. And also, we expect everyone who regularly watches this show to come back in 2 or 3 weeks with all 10 fingers and all 10 toes and both feet and both hands. We're going to check right now. 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Got them. We are not showing you our feet. You have to pay us if you want us to do that. But you're going to have to take our word for it. And I go, here we go, guys. Here we go. Here we go. Only on the Anti-Happening podcast do you get free white boy feet. White boy feet, baby. Yeah. Yeah, man. That's for free. That's for free. Other motherfuckers would paywall that shit. Like an interview with the Cybersmith. I don't remember what fucking podcast that was. Fucking paywalled half their interview with the Cyberfist. Bunch of faggots. We don't do that. You get free feet. Happy July 4th. Stay safe. Stay healthy. And as always, taxation is theft.